We are live. NFL free agency is upon us. Wow, man. I was kind of cool, like maybe taking a little bit of like an hour buffer, because when we went live last year, the first like 30, 45 minutes were kind of quiet. We just kind of sat around and twirled our thumbs reacting to some smaller stuff. Not this year. Holy crap, dude. Whatever that little change that the NFL made with you get like 5 agents that you get to be on a video call with or something, whatever it was, it has led to some freaking action, man. So I'm happy. I'm excited to be able to do this here. Kind of poor planning on my part. I also had an appointment, just a monthly check-in for the baby. We're at 22 weeks pregnant now, so that's super exciting. Everything's looking good, knock on wood there, of course, but had that appointment like right at 11, which was when this stuff started. So came out, checked my phone. I was like, all right, we got to go. We got to get home. We got to go live. And I also thought this was going to happen on Tuesday and not Monday. So I will be more prepared next year, I promise, to go live right as this starts. And hopefully we get action again next year. But that's 365 days from now. We have so much to pack into this live stream here today. Also trying my first Twitter live stream because I'm bad at technology, and I figured out how to live stream to Twitter and YouTube at the same time. So I guess it's kind of like, where do we start? Like the stream, subscribe to the channel, I suppose. We can start with that, but I have a couple of the like free agency tracker websites up, so I can like go down the list. My goal is to give my takes on every signing we've gotten here today, but again, it's a lot, so gonna do my best. I have one offer to somebody in the chat, in the comments. I will Venmo, let's go $15. I will Venmo $15 when the stream is done to the first person in the comments for this VOD, the video version of this live stream. The first person that can get timestamps for me. Actually, we have way too many players. $20 for the first person. Drop all the timestamps for all of my takes here, and drop your Venmo link. I'll send you $20. Maybe some of the people in the TFG community will send you some money too. But I want people to be able to click through this video, get their specific takes. I'm heading to Florida for vacation, family vacation tomorrow. So this will be a nice video to kind of have up throughout the week. And I'm glad we have so many players to react to. All right, I'm rambling, you guys. I'm rambling. Let's get started. Just as I went live, it does seem that Tyler Linderbaum signed a big deal, which was like, that to me was the most important free agent. I'm going to wait till those details are kind of finalized. I think that's an important part of this process, is to make sure everything settles, get that guaranteed money. So we will get to Tyler Linderbaum. I think I'm going to kind of just go through this in the order of kind of when they were revealed. And Spotrac does a good job of that, kind of listing these as they go. So, there was some news this morning. Ed Ingram got a $38 million deal from the Texans. Big breakout year for big Ed Ingram. Great run blocker. Needs to keep working on the pass protection, I think, if that's going to be worth it for the Texans. But that was a big one that happened this morning. Then you've got Monteric Brown, big name reset. I mean, now a bigger name, 3-year, $33 million, starting corner in Jacksonville. Shout out Monteric Brown. I actually think that's worth it for Jacksonville to get what he got there, $11 million for a guy that's very quietly been a solid CB2 down there in Jacksonville. So maybe not the biggest, most exciting name to start this thing off here, but definitely deserves his love. A shout out for a big deal there. All right, then we had Minkah Fitzpatrick traded from the Dolphins to the Jets, the rare interdivision trade. More name than player at this point, Minkah Fitzpatrick, but still a decent year on a horrible Dolphins team last year, still a good safety. The Jets actually, I think what I'm going to do is bunch all of these moves that they've made here together. Because they're very clearly going with kind of a Aaron Glenn-led veteran collection, assembly of guys to kind of get that defense to play like an Aaron Glenn defense. And I think Minkah Fitzpatrick on the back end makes a lot of sense. I'm curious if they might use him like they used Brian Branch in Detroit. A couple of Bama, long time since those guys you can affiliate them both with being Bama guys, but Minkah once upon a time was really good in the slot. I wonder if that might be the plan or if he's going to be free safety, but either way, you get him in. They actually ink him to a 3-year, $40 million extension. I've been calling Minkah Fitzpatrick overrated over the years, but I'm actually okay with that for the Jets. That's not some crazy price point, and I'm sure there's some funny money at the end of that where they could probably get out of it in year 3 if they want. So 7th round pick to basically have the right to extend Minkah Fitzpatrick, I think is actually a really good move, especially when you kind of put all this stuff together. The Jets have been busy, man. We mentioned the veteran move, strategy, really. Demario Davis, I honestly, he was off my radar. I assumed if he was going to keep playing, it was going to be with the Saints. He started his career with the Jets, but it feels like he's been such a signature member of the New Orleans Saints. I think Saints fans were caught off guard by this a little bit, but Demario is the ageless wonder, man. I think he's 35 going on 36 years old and had another phenomenal season for the Saints. He was a big reason why that Saints team was honestly better than people expected because their run defense was so much better than you would expect. And Demario Davis is probably, you got Jack Campbell in there, like maybe Jordan Brooks, Fred Warner when he's healthy. But yeah, Demario Davis, a top 5 run defending linebacker in the league, very much fits the idea that I was saying they should sign Leo Chenal. It's kind of funny how this all ties together. My pro comp on Leo Chenal was Demario Davis. My big free agent prediction was the Jets were going to sign Leo Chenal to be their version of Jack Campbell in Detroit. Kind of funny how that all ties together, but same idea. You get that big middle linebacker in there and just a leader that's not going to have any nonsense from that locker room. So I actually really like those moves from the Jets. And then they're busy on the D-line too. They obviously traded Jermaine Johnson to the Titans. They get a nose tackle in. And then they have signed 2 good edge rushers, man. I like this. Rolling the dice on Joseph Asai, 3-year, $36 million extension, or not extension, a signing. Asai is a loss for the Bengals. He had a breakout year for the Bengals kind of quietly when they sucked and no one was really watching, or at least they were only on your red zone channel when the Bengals and Joe Burrow had the ball. No one was really glued in on that Bengals defense, but Joseph Asai, who was a prospect I really liked coming out, took a long time to get there, but he had some really nice tape. We were just talking about him in the AFC North Studs and Duds episode. So shout out to all my YouTube members and my patrons getting access to that Studs and Duds series. But yeah, Asai's a really nice signing. I think Asai and Jermaine Johnson are very close in my mind in terms of what they do. Asai rushes with a lot of power. He was a good run defender this year. Jermaine's a little bit more iffy because it's like, just how healthy is he? But I like that collection of moves to bring in T'Vondre Sweat, where I thought they won that trade from a value perspective. And then you go get Joseph Asai when Jermaine Johnson's going to need to be paid anyway. I really like that for the Jets. And you sprinkle on top of that Kingsley Enagbari from my Green Bay Packers. Definitely an Aaron Glenn type of guy. He is a definition of a number 3 edge. They give him a 1-year, $10 million contract. He is an excellent run defender. He can give you a little bit as a pass rusher. I really like how he could plug in. If you now go with Arvell Reese or Ruben Bain at number 2, you got your number 1, you got your number 2 in Osai, and then you have, in my opinion, one of the kind of like textbook archetype number 3 pieces for everything he can do and set the tone. So look, I've been hard on the Jets. I really like those moves, and I think all of that really ties together. So I'm a little bit higher on what that Jets defense is shaping up to be. So Jets fans will like to hear that. I've been really hard on the Jets, but full credit where credit is due always. And we can roll into next year, and my opinions on Aaron Glenn have been said, but let's see what he can do with this unit. So I really like what they're doing there. Also, you guys, thank you for the super chats pouring in. We're gonna get there. I think it's best to kind of go through the list, get caught up in a clean fashion with this, and then we'll visit the super chats. If I missed anything, you guys can super chat those signings and those moves in there. But okay, let's keep scrolling through this. The Dallas Cowboys traded for Rashan Gary. The Cowboys have made some of the more questionable trades in this category of player acquisition with like 4th, 5th round picks. We saw Jonathan Cooper for a 4th round pick last year. This one was pretty questionable as well, just because it was so clear that the Packers were going to release Rashan Gary. Now, that market could have been bigger than we thought. There was also the speculation that Rashan Gary's goodbye post was his Instagram getting hacked. So kind of a funny story here. But I think this is a huge win for the Packers. They were going to release him anyway, and if any of that money ends up being on Dallas's, books, that's an extra plus. Any money that you were going to have to take for releasing him, I actually don't know the details of that. But to get a 4th round pick next year for a guy you were going to release is a huge win. And then as we talk about what he is for the Cowboys, Rashan Gary it's not that he's a bad player. It's just he wasn't going to be worth $20 million for the Packers or like $24 million for the Packers. For Dallas, he's going to take on, I don't know exactly what the cap hit is going to be. It's always pretty tricky with trades. Like, where does all the money land? Like, Green Bay is going to take some of the money. Dallas is going to take some of the money. So we'll see what like they're paying Rashan Gary. If it's in the $15 million a year ballpark, I think that's fine for what he is. Like, he's still a decent number 2 pass rusher. The thing is, after that ACL injury in 2022, 2023, he just lost all of his explosiveness. He didn't have that first step get off, the ability to convert speed to power, the ability to like whip around tackles with that speed. And he ended up just this, strong-armed, lengthy kind of finesse rusher where, like, he's got some good swipes and can get after the QB a little bit, but not in, like, a dominant way. And he actually has kind of reshaped his game. We're talking about Rashan Gary, by the way, to be more of a run defender. Like, he's been a better run defender the last few years. So, like, he's an okay number 2 is kind of what I would say for Rashan Gary. So, in a vacuum, not a big deal to, like, pay him about $15 million, trade a 4th round pick for it. You could do worse. It's not the end of the world for Dallas, but probably a guy that you might have been able to get for cheaper on the market. But I'm not going to slam the Cowboys for it. I think it's an okay move. All right, let's see what else we've got here. Alec Pierce is the next on this list. He tested the market for about 2 minutes, and then at like 12:02 Eastern, we get the hammer of the Colts extending Alec Pierce for a 4-year, $114 million contract, which I think they set it, but that comes out about $29 million a year, 28.5, 29. I should really just have a calculator on me, honestly. Let's see. 114 divided by 4, 28.5. So one thing I learned today is don't tweet anything roasting these front offices a week before free agency because you have no idea what's going to happen. I was really hard on the Colts on Twitter for franchise tagging Daniel Jones. And at the time, it really felt like they were going to lose Alec Pierce. And, I still don't think anyone was going to outbid you for Daniel Jones for a $37 million contract this year. And you were playing with fire with Alec Pierce. Literally, he did get to the open market, which is dangerous. But they kind of, it's like a science fiction movie. The guy's like falling into the void or the portal into the shadow realm. I'm thinking of like the Avengers and all these. You're about to lose him into the realm of the lost, and they pulled him back in at the last second is kind of what the Colts did. So they played with fire there, but they got it done. So good job, Chris Ballard. I was fine with whatever a team had to pay to get Alec Pierce. I think he's phenomenal on a Team that had Daniel Jones for half a year and then Philip Phillip Rivers was a fun experience. There wasn't going to be a good connection between Phillip Rivers and Alec Pierce because Alec Pierce is best deep down the field. And for all the good things Phillip Rivers did, he couldn't push the ball more than 20 yards down the field. So that was always like kind of a bummer for Alec Pierce. He would have had, if Daniel Jones even stayed healthy, because DJ was doing a good job getting the ball down the field to him. Look, anybody that thinks this was an overpay might have been a little more aware of just how good Alec Pierce was. Anybody that follows me on Twitter saw the tweets week after week after week. Like, this guy was, in my opinion, the most underrated player in the entire NFL last year. Yes, he's a great vertical threat. He's got the speed and the size to win tough catches down the field. But the reason he was so underrated is he did so much more. He was such a better route runner, beating press, red zone threat, in-breakers, out-breakers, corner routes, you name it. Like, he emerged not just as, yes, you can use him as a pure elite deep threat, and I do think he is the best pure deep threat, but you can use him as an X-wide receiver, which takes me to, I think, a good transition to them trading Michael Pittman away. This, to me, is worth it for the Colts because on one hand, it should have been done sooner. I think the Colts should have gotten ahead of this and tried to take care of this in the middle of the season. Honestly, as soon as they traded Adonai Mitchell away, which I kind of want to ring my bell, by the way, because in the 2024 Colts Deep Dive, I said stop writing Alec Pierce off. He might be better than Adonai Mitchell, and nobody thought that was a good take at the time. But anyway, the second they traded away Adonai Mitchell, they couldn't afford to lose Alec Pierce because Michael Pittman's regressing, man, and this should have been taken care of sooner. They could have got him for cheaper, I think, if they did this earlier, but Alec Pierce and his agent played the market. They get the big money, and at the end of the day, $3 million more to keep your guy, it's not going to kill you, I don't think. So good job to the Colts there. And then they immediately flip Michael Pittman to the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is just the most Pittsburgh Steelers trade of all time. Just go get how old is Michael Pittman? 28, 29? He might be a little younger because I think he was young when he came into the league. He's 28, turns 29 this year. But look, I'm not saying Michael Pittman will be bad on the Steelers. I think he will be just fine. But it's just like they trade for a regressing receiver that is going to cost them. They extended him to a 3-year, $59 million extension. I'm just like, all right, like we're just gonna keep throwing money at this thing with regressing vets. Like, okay, I guess nothing's really changing in Pittsburgh. They did need a number 2 wide receiver. Could you have gotten that in a different way, like through the draft? Like, Omar Cooper, first round, for example, or a good pro comp on Michael Pittman is, shout out Indiana, got this at the Combine last week, but Elijah Surratt, like, would that have been a better use of resources for the Steelers? Certainly something to open that conversation up, but C+ move for the Steelers in my opinion, but great on the Colts for getting them out of there, clear up the books. They have other things they're going to need to address. Like, there really at this point is no need for Michael Pittman. If anything, you're just holding back Alec Pierce, who is now your true number 1 wide receiver. And I think people need to stop looking at him as just a deep threat. Like, that average depth of target is going to come down in a good way for the Colts. They'll still get him the ball down the field, but he's going to get a lot more slants and back shoulders and hitch routes being their true X wide receiver. And I really like that and how he fits with Downs and their tight end room and all of it. So we're getting closer to being caught up here. I got to go back a little bit because I skipped forward a couple of these to do the Michael Pittman talk there. This is a 2 o'clock beer type of day. Shout out New Glarus. I really just need that because I'm losing my voice. But I'm in vacation mode, guys. I'm going to Naples tomorrow with my family. I'm having a beer at 2 o'clock and talking about NFL free agency. I'm living the life over here. But we're gonna keep going. Again, sorry for kind of ignoring the chat for now. We'll get there with you guys. I really appreciate it. We're up to I mean, I'm seeing 2,300 viewers, and I don't know how many of that is Twitter versus YouTube. This is my first time doing Twitter live stream, but this is a ton of fun. So anyway, Draymond Jones goes to the New England Patriots. 3 years, $39 million a year. Was just praising him in the AFC North Studs and Duds episode. He was a very pleasant surprise. That was a take I was kind of wrong about, I think. I looked at the Ravens trading a pick for him in the middle of a year that already kind of felt like a lost year for the Ravens, and I was like, is he really going to make a difference for you? Like, Draymond Jones is okay. And he got to Baltimore and did the thing that we've gotten used to Baltimore veteran edge rushers doing, whether it was Jadeveon Clowney or Kyle Van Noy. Like, they've had an impressive list of veterans coming in and getting more out of those vets. Even like Justin Houston late in his career, like stretched it out with Baltimore. They haven't had the same success drafting young edge rushers. In fact, it's like they're stealing all the power from the young kids in Baltimore. But nice rejuvenation for Draymond Jones, who was like wrecking games in Baltimore. And this reminds me a little bit for New England, like the K'Lavon Chaisson signing last year. It's more expensive, 3 year, $39 million. But this shows me that the Patriots are grinding the tape. Like, they understood, like, look, this guy was doing a lot of different stuff as a stand-up outside backer and at 280 pounds. He's got finesse inside counters. He can bowl through you. He's a nice player, and I was impressed. Draymond has underwhelmed me for a long time. Not this year. He that's a good signing for New England. Eric Stokes is extended in Las Vegas. Good for him. He did have a really quietly good year in Las Vegas this year on a bad defense. And the interesting thing for me with Eric Stokes, the last 2 years, I wonder, because his like yards allowed, if you just sort through like yards allowed per game for Eric Stokes, I would have to confirm these stats, but I'm almost positive he would probably be in the top 10 in terms of yards allowed per starting cornerbacks over the last 2 years, going back to Green Bay. But how much of that is just he's been on these defenses that have so many other bad cornerbacks, whether it was Green Bay in 2024 or the Raiders this year. How much of that is teams are just like, why would we throw at Eric Stokes, who's like a solid player, when we can throw at all these other like, UFL caliber guys? But he has been not a problem on two different defenses over the last 2 years. So he gets a $10 million a year extension with the Raiders. And I like what the Raiders, it's kind of fun because they went and traded yesterday for Johnson from Buffalo, the slot corner. And the Raiders can just kind of close their eyes and just throw a dart and like bring in a motley crew of just veterans that nobody really wanted and just build out this defense, because they have, since they traded Max Crosby, like they need every position. But no, now slot corner and outside corner are taken care of, or at least one of their outside corners. And maybe they do look at Darian Porter as a starter. So maybe they think their cornerback room is set. But then you got Kenneth Walker, 3-year, $43 million to the Chiefs. So just short of $15 million a year. I think I saw it was like 28 guaranteed. I just don't get it for Seattle. I actually want to start there. I don't know why, with Charbonnet coming off an injury, why would you let him go? I don't get that, man. He was so good. He finally showed, like, if you let him be the workhorse, he can handle it. Now, I still agree with the general philosophy of, like, I don't think you want to give Kenneth Walker 20 touches a game all season long. He has had durability concerns, and I think the Chiefs will want to be smart about that. But, dude, I still think he's worth paying. Like, he's so explosive. I think, you got to be kind of careful when you say this, because I don't want to be disrespectful to Jahmyr Gibbs in any sense. But I do think Kenneth Walker's probably the closest thing we have to Jahmyr Gibbs in terms of just raw explosiveness. And when he gets into the second level, the way he accelerates away from linebackers and safeties, it's game. it's game breaking. Everyone wants to say game breaking speed, but it's really game breaking acceleration, that burst. It's just rare. And the change of direction, like that's even more important than the long speed. And he's got some size to go with him. And I thought his vision got better as the season went on for Seattle. So this is just a slam dunk signing for the Chiefs, man. It's not even that expensive. $14 million a year for someone that drops like legit explosiveness into that offense that they've had a hard time tapping into explosive plays. They've tried to do it with these deep threats. Hate to say it, man. Patrick Mahomes effing sucks at throwing the deep ball like he does these days. Like, I'm sorry. He's been one of the worst deep ball throwers in the league for like 3 years now, and we got to start acknowledging that. They're going to get explosiveness from this offense through their ground game. And it's a lot easier to tap into it that way. Now, I hope Mahomes can start hitting these deep balls on top of all this. That'd be great too. But let's be honest, man. That's a big reason why they've had a hard time opening this offense up. And I think this will do that. Not to mention, I really love, honestly, pairing him with Eric Bieniemy for 2 reasons. Number one, the Chiefs' screen game felt so much more innovative and creative when Eric Bieniemy was there, who I think has gone and shown he's maybe the best running backs coach that the league has to offer. And that takes me to my second point. The work that Bieniemy did with DeAndre Swift in Chicago last year actually got him to run between the tackles, show some patience, let blocks set up. This was the first time in his career we had a pretty good stretch of DeAndre Swift running with good vision. And if there is a knock on Kenneth Walker, it is that same DeAndre Swift criticism. I don't think it's quite as bad as Swift has it, but it's the same idea where he knows he's got home run hitting ability and he wants to get those big plays every single snap. Kenneth Walker is one of the more bounce-happy backs in the league. So getting Eric Bieniemy in there, who just did this with DeAndre Swift, I think this could be perfect, man. This could be, he's not Saquon Barkley, but this could be on the same level, I would say, as, remember a couple years ago when Saquon went to the Eagles and Josh Jacobs went to the Packers and Derrick Henry went to the Ravens, and all 3 of those guys are like the best backs in the league. And I thought we were kind of past the point of like never pay running backs in the modern NFL where everyone's in nickel defense and the run game has kind of made the run game has totally made a comeback. And I think the running back position is more valuable now than it was certainly 5 or 6 years ago. I think this is a great value for Kansas City, and I don't understand if you're Seattle, why would you let him go? So that one was pretty eye-opening to me and good for Kansas City for getting that done. All right, what do we got next? We can stay with the Chiefs, in a sense, with Jaylen Watson signing with the Rams. Now, just as we praised the Chiefs for a big signing, losing Jaylen Watson definitely gave me pause. He's been really good, especially last year, and he signs a 3-year, $51 million deal with the Rams. So it's a lot of money for Jaylen Watson. That's more than I thought he would get. Rams are obviously going for it, man. I've got a video idea for the Rams for this summer that's going to be really fun, because when you look at things for the Rams, like you talk about championship windows and not realizing that they were so critical until they're gone. This year for the Rams it's absurd, like the amount of players that they're going to have to pay. And then you've got Matthew Stafford at 38 years old on top of all that. The Rams realize this, and they're not effing around. They looked at that roster and said, the only thing we need are cornerbacks, and we're just going to replicate the Chiefs' secondary. They go get Jaylen Watson on top of McDuffie. I love having 2 guys that have played together. The communication is such an important part of the secondary, and that's underrated on top of these guys just being good players. So I love it for the Rams. It's just like this only raises the stakes even higher in terms of like, go get the damn thing done this year. Also, Chris Shula probably going to be gone after this year. Like it's going to be a fun video to talk about like just how loaded the Rams are this year, but how quickly things could fall apart. Or not fall apart, but you got to start paying guys and how that works. But as for the Chiefs, when they traded McDuffie, my big selling point, and like I said, don't tweet anything about these moves a week before free agency because you never know what's going to happen. And when they traded McDuffie, I was like, you know what? I like it for the Chiefs because they're still fine at corner. I was like, find a way to get Jalen Watson back, and then they have the third round corner out of Cal that was good last year, and you have Christian Fulton still under contract there, but Jalen Watson was supposed to be your number one, and you now lose him and McDuffie in the same offseason. That's certainly not ideal. Now, they're great at drafting and developing corners, but for me, a big saving grace on getting those picks for McDuffie was like, well, now you can pay Jalen Watson about half the money and use those other resources elsewhere. So don't love that for the Chiefs' defense, but their offense maybe can make up some ground here. All right, next up. And God knows what's breaking while I'm doing this. Like I kind of want to just get through this and then get caught up with the chat. So again, I apologize for ignoring the chat for now, but I think it's making for good content. Jaelan Phillips, keep pounding, baby. Carolina Panthers. Chat, can I get a mother freaking keep? I actually don't love this. Despite that, 4-year, $120 million contract is like 80-something guaranteed, I saw. This, I can't say I don't love it because the Panthers fan in me is excited. But I will be honest, this terrifies the crap out of me as a Panthers fan. Jaelan Phillips has not really shown that he can stay healthy. And I'm always going to be skeptical of paying a guy after 1 year where he did stay healthy. And I also don't think Jaelan Phillips is quite what he was before the ACL and the Achilles. He was so explosive as a rookie, and he's still a very good player. I think he's more of a $15 million a year edge rusher as like a low 1, high 2. Like even when it was reported that the Eagles were going to try to get him back at 20, I was like, that's a little expensive, but I was just kind of worried about what that's going to mean for a team that has a lot of big contracts to issue out in Philadelphia. Look, the Panthers don't have a ton of cap space. They really don't. And $30 million a year for Jaelan Phillips, basically just dropping a money nuke on this situation for someone that was probably close to going back to Philly. I just pray that he can stay healthy and continue to, show that he has good twitch in there. I think he was a really good player for Philly, but I'm a little hesitant on this one, man. I am. I'm just going to call it like I see it on these signings, and we're just, time will tell, but I'm really worried, like, if he has another significant lower body injury as early as this year, it's like, Jesus, man, you got $80 million stuck on this thing. Like, dude, the Miami Dolphins wanted out of this thing. Like, I don't know, man. That one was I can't say head scratcher because this was what they needed, was some juice, And if you're getting the best case scenario here, him with Nick Scorton and Derek Brown, I can start to get behind that as a pass rush, but it's a very aggressive boomer bust signing, and I just think the risk outweighs the reward on this one. But yeah, let's see what else we got. Malik Willis going to the Miami Dolphins. I really like this. I figured it was going to be Miami, Arizona, or Pittsburgh for Willis, and this is almost as big of a news for Arizona as it is for Miami because I think this was Arizona's plan. But maybe it was the third year they weren't willing to go with that Miami was able to drop on there. But I like the deal. $22 million for Malik Willis. Obviously an incredibly risky signing. Someone that was early on. I mean, he's had what a roller coaster it's been. He goes from until about March of his draft Everybody mocking him number 2 overall to the Detroit Lions that year. And then he falls to the 3rd round. And then he goes to the Titans, who play him too early. Malik Willis was always he's a year away from being a year away quarterback prospect coming out of Liberty. That's exactly what I said I made a video about him in January of that draft. It's like, I like Malik Willis as like a 2nd round QB prospect, but you gotta put a good infrastructure around him. You gotta sit him and develop him for 2 years. He's a year away from being a year away. And that's literally what we saw, right? Tennessee had to play him too early. They ship him off to Green Bay for nothing. And Green Bay is like, hold on, you just didn't do this right. Let the QB factory that is Green Bay, let us do this thing the right way. And that's exactly what happened. He developed, his processor got better, his confidence got better. I really do think, the way that he kind of carried himself in that locker room, I just enjoyed seeking out his post-game interviews and stuff, like the way he talks about what he learned from his time in Tennessee. He's like very grateful for his time in Tennessee. He just has a really good approach on life in general, and I think this Green Bay staff in Miami wanted to bring that with them. So, look, Miami's got a lot of work to do. This is not a guarantee to work out, but I love the risk, and if this works, to get a 3-year deal out of this, like that's great, man. So, excited for Miami. The other note on that is I think Malik Willis's best trait, other than like the improv stuff, he actually, all the way going back to Liberty, he throws a beautiful freaking deep ball, man. Like, that was evident in Green Bay, and like pairing that with Jalen Waddle, we are for the first time going to be able to see a quarterback that can actually send the ball consistently down, like deep down the field. No more of this Tua short arming it, and Jalen Waddle's got to stop and work 10 yards backwards on a deep post. No more of that. Like, Jalen Waddle's going to be able to just freaking fly, and Malik Willis is very accurate on those throws. So that's a very fun pairing. Plus him and Achane in the backfield together with read options and stuff. It's not a guarantee to work, but it's a very fun fit. So I like that a lot. And then again, for Arizona to not get him after they've already played their cards with Kyler Murray, what are we doing in Arizona? Where are we going with this one? So we'll see what their answer is. All right, John Simpson goes back to Baltimore. Don't love that for the Jets. I thought that O-line had really settled in, and I just wouldn't want to lose anybody on that O-line when you finally got a unit that works together. So I don't love losing him if you're the Jets, but obviously it's a good signing for Baltimore, a familiar face. My opinions on teams signing offensive linemen, unless it's like an Aaron Banks situation or even like frickin' Dan Moore. Like, yeah, if a guy gets like way overpaid, I'll call it out. But generally speaking, O-line signings and re-signings, it's typically the same analysis. It's like more often than not, the big winners in free agency are the ones that maintained and signed good offensive linemen. I think John Simpson's a good guard. So big need for Baltimore, like that for them. I mean, gotta love what Baltimore's doing right now, kind of going for it here. Speaking of Baltimore, Isaiah Likely signed with the New York Giants, 3-year, $40 million deal. Another weapon in there. I still think, Theo Johnson, he's probably your Y. We'll see, though. Likely's one of these 238-pound tight ends that you kind of want him as a 12 personnel piece, and moving him around, more of a slot wide receiver plus F tight end than he is like a starting Y. So I think that works for me with Theo Johnson, who just needs to learn how to catch the damn football and block a little bit better. But Theo's shown some exciting promises. So that's a good tight end room. More weapons for Jackson Dart. 3 or $40 million. So you're looking at 13 and a third. For Likely, yeah, I guess, I guess is what I'll say on that. I just saw this one and laughed. Does Ryan Poles know anything about D-line play? Like, seriously. Bears fans, I'm actually going to look at the chat for a second. And as I look to the chat, Mike Evans to San Francisco is crazy, but we'll get to that. We're getting closer to caught up on the live signings. That's very surprising, though. But I want to look at the chat for a second, because does Ryan Poles know anything about defensive linemen? Because he gave Neville Gallimore a 2-year, $12 million contract. Just like wipe your ass with $6 million of cap space, Ryan Poles. Like, what? What? Dude, Neville Gallimore is it's August 15th, and we don't think we have a sixth defensive tackle that's going to make our roster. Who's out there? Let's bring Neville Gallimore in for a 1-year, $1.2 million contract. That's wild. Like, Neville Gallimore has been an absolute flop in the league. Like, he hasn't put on a pound of muscle, doesn't defend the run, can occasionally win because he's athletic as a pass rusher, but I mean, Christo says it's a depth signing. I'm not in the business of just lighting $6 million of cap space on fire. I'm not. So, and yeah, Dennis Allen's not free of blame. I mean, Dennis Allen going back to New Orleans was really bad at this too. If you look at Isaiah Foskey and Peyton Turner, and even like trading 2 firsts for Carl Granderson. So, wow. Okay. We talked about Michael Pittman. We talked about Joseph Osai. We talked about Kingsley Enagbari and Demario Davis. Austin Hooper goes to Atlanta for 1 year, 3.2. I actually really like that. He reunites with Kevin Stefanski. That's a thumbs up for me. Austin Hooper played really well for the Patriots last year. That's kind of a loss for the Patriots to not be able to do the same 12 personnel stuff. And I actually really like that for Atlanta, because Kyle Pitts is not. He's not a Y tight end. We just had that conversation with Isaiah Likely. Austin Hooper can plug in there, and that allows you to do all the good stuff with Kyle Pitts. So I like that. That's good news for Kyle Pitts, that Atlanta found a nice, reliable Y tight end in Austin Hooper. Familiar as well, because that's where he started his career. So that's kind of a fun, sneaky signing there, Austin Hooper. Let's let New Glarus freshen up my voice a little bit. All right. Kenneth Gainwell goes to the Bucs. I thought that was fascinating, just because they've always defended Rashad White, and then they said, "See you, dude. We're gonna go with a different scat back." I really liked what Kenneth Gainwell did this year in Pittsburgh. I thought he really broke through. It's just a nice compliment to Bucky Irving, I guess. Like, Bucky's going to be their feature back, and Kenneth Gainwell can do a little bit of everything for them. And I would say, especially as a third down back, like, if Bucky's tired, it's fine. 2 year, $7 million for that. That's about exactly what I thought his market would be. So I think that's fair play. I was interested that they didn't bring Sean Tucker back. Like, I think Sean Tucker can play, and I think someone should absolutely, like, if I'm the Chiefs and you just got Kenneth Walker and you want someone else with some size that can eat up some physical runs, Sean Tucker is like a great value for like Kansas City to go take a look at. All right, we are getting closer and closer to caught up. Also for the Bucs, Alex Anzalone. Really, really a nice linebacker, man. Anzalone's had some really good years in Detroit, and he's going to go to Tampa to fill that big linebacker need. So that one's pretty straightforward. 2 years, $17 million. That's a good value for Anzalone. I think that's he's going to have a good year in Tampa. I think that's a good signing. I can see the top of the list now, guys, and then we can react to live stuff and the chat. We've got some fullback, cornerback, backup cornerback signings. Amik Robertson to the Commanders for 2 years, $16 million. Okay. I mean, they need cornerback help. $8 million a year for Amik Robertson. Okay. He had a rough year this year in Detroit, but he can play a little bit. I don't have too many strong opinions on that. It's not like they overpaid by a ton. Kobe Bryant. Kobe to Chicago. 3-year, $40 million deal for the safety from Seattle. Seattle's kind of losing everybody right now between Walker and Kobe Bryant. So that's about his market, I would say. Kobe is really broken through as a quality starting safety. He's not gonna wow you. You know, the most fun thing about Kobe Bryant is probably his name. But that's not always a bad thing for a safety, right? A guy that's like, he comes from a cornerback experience. He understands all the different coverage principles. And he's been a pretty good tackler. He had some rough moments as a tackler this year, but was really good through the playoffs. And you can kind of do anything with him. You can play single high, two high. You can do split safety stuff. You could even use him as a nickel if you needed him to do that. If Kyler Gordon gets hurt, and you've got some safety depth and you want to get a little bit creative. That's what Kobe Bryant did at first. So he's just a nice, versatile, smart safety. 3-year, $40 million. That's kind of the going price. I'm not going to say it's a steal or anything like that. But Chicago, obviously, with Brisker and Byard pending free agents, they had to do something with that safety room. So that tracks for me. Ooh, only on TFG are you going to get an ooh for Daniel Bellinger signing a 3-year, $24 million with Tennessee, $24 million deal. This is stupid, but this is I don't have my bell on me. This is a ring the bell moment for me. This was a good take of mine. I said in the Giant Studs and Duds episode, I was like, don't be surprised if Daniel Bellinger gets a very sneaky, like, oh man, who's the tight end for the Vikings? The tight end 2, not TJ Hawkinson. I'm pulling this up because I'm having a brain fart. Josh Oliver. I said, don't be surprised. Nobody, you guys are smart. So like, I would say 25% of you know who Daniel Bellinger is. But I would say the average NFL fan, maybe 1% knows who Daniel Bellinger is. And, I said Daniel Bellinger, man, really good year as a run blocker, and would not be surprised if he gets that, in the year of 12 personnel and having that blocking specialist tight end that is like one of the more underrated positions in the league. And I truly mean that. Like, I think a lot of people are like, yeah, whatever, you football nerd. Like, no one cares. I'm serious. Like, being able to get into 12 personnel and have someone that's half O-line and half receiver, it really does matter in terms of causing problems for defenses, and for Tennessee to get that is nice. Just because, they drafted Gunnar Helm, and I like Gunnar Helm, but he's a little smaller, he's a little younger, he's not quite there as a run blocker, and he's still going to be like their number one tight end, I think. But for 12 personnel, you bring in Bellinger, and I would actually really like if they could get Chig back. I think Chig was really nice. He's going to test the market. But I think Chig plus Bellinger plus Gunnar Helm, you could do a lot of really fun, creative stuff. And he also was reunited with Brian Daboll as fun as well. So I actually really like that signing. Probably more time than he thought was going to be spent on Daniel Bellinger. James Pierre, sneaky good signing for the Vikings just to get a CB2 in there that can play. 2-year, $8.5 million deal, so $4 million for a starting corner. Like, that's a good deal, man. And Brian Flores is familiar with him from his year in Pittsburgh, so I like that deal for Minnesota. He's not going to be a star. He's going to have some weeks are better than others, but I like dropping him in there with, they have a couple guys they like, but him as... Because he's like their CB 2.5, because Byron Murphy plays inside and out. You've got Isaiah Rodgers and now James Pierre. I can get behind that as a cornerback room. That's totally reasonable. This one, as a Panthers and Packers fan, this one's kind of like a damn it signing. Cade Mays to the Lions. He's going to be really good there. He's going to be an awesome Detroit Lion. God damn it. God damn it. Drink. Cade Mays, 3 years, $25 million for Detroit. Like, if I'm the Panthers, I would have much rather re-signed Cade Mays and not made the Jaelan Phillips signing. But, yeah, dude, he's a mauler. Fuck. He's going to be he's going to be a Pro Bowler. He's going to be like a Pro Bowl caliber player. High upside guy that just took a while. Was like a 5-star recruit, was a tackle, was clear he wasn't a tackle. Took some time to kind of slide in, and he's been really good as a center. Yeah. Good job, Detroit. Good job. All right. We are now at the point that was right when I went live. So we're getting there. Tyler Linderbaum, 3-year, $81 million contract. Another kind of ring the bell, good take for me, where I was like, don't be surprised if Tyler Linderbaum like resets the interior offensive line market, throws, pardon the profanity here, but throws an FU to the Ravens, who tried to play hardball. The Ravens were like, no, the center market is $18 million. We can't pay you $25. That's too big of a jump in the market. What do you go see if you can get that money elsewhere and then come back to us. Tyler Linderbaum's like, yeah, screw you. The market is the market, man. And he goes and gets $27 million a year. Hell yes. Like, what is with this idea that centers are worth less than guards? If anything, they should be worth more because of his ability, like, to come in. And it's not like Mendoza needs help with this. Like, he's a rare rookie in the sense of, like, I trust him a lot with protections and stuff. I don't know how much Indiana put that on his plate. Their offense was otherwise pretty simplistic. So I would be curious how much protections he handled and stuff. But love getting that veteran in. Set protections, going to be an immense upgrade to the run game. You get Jackson Powers-Johnson at guard. I mean, hell yeah, Raiders. I absolutely love that for them. I also can see that they signed Jalen Naylor to a 3-year, $35 million deal. I like just getting somebody in there that raises the floor. You don't know how the draft is going to go. Jalen Naylor's he's like the ideal, like, mid-range wide receiver 3. He can play inside and out. He's got some speed. He's got, some good hands, a little run after catch. Can just kind of do a little bit of everything. You plug him in there with a wide receiver group that now has guys that can play with Trey Tucker and Jack Besh, hopefully. But maybe in the draft, you get the opportunity to bring in like a legit number 1, and then you're really cooking, plus the Linderbaum signing. So the biggest winner on the Linderbaum thing is Ashton Ginty, by the way. So I would say that and Kenneth Walker are probably my 2 most favorite acquisitions so far. That's a really fun move. That Raiders offensive line is an early candidate for most improved unit because you add Tyler Linderbaum. One of the most underrated talking points is you add Colton Miller, who missed essentially all of last year, who's a legit top 10 franchise left tackle, and you don't have Pete Carroll's, nepotism signing ruining the entire unit. With his son coaching the offensive line, one of the least qualified position coaches in the league last year. So, Love what the Raiders have been doing. I loved what they got from the Max Crosby trade. Like, I think they're doing things really well there. I think if you're gonna go with Mendoza, which they obviously are, this is the way to go. It reminds me a little bit of year 2 with the Panthers, where they kind of they converted Brian Burns into cap space and they tried to turn it into, a weapon for him with the running back, but the injuries to Jonathan Brooks kind of backfired there. But they just ignored the defense basically, and it's, the Raiders are going to make some signings and try to fill that unit out just like the Panthers did. But give Mendoza everything he needs to hit the ground running. So I like what they're doing to start there. Tyler Algier to the Cardinals. That's interesting. 2-year, $12.5 million contract. I'll say this: it doesn't really make sense to me after they agreed to bring James Conner back. Those two guys are like two peas in a pod. Here's my first two main thoughts on that, other than doesn't really make sense to me. And I don't really know why Tyler Algier would go there. Was that your best opportunity? Okay. But two takeaways there. Number one, they ain't taking Jeremiah Love at number 3. That much is very clear. Like, that room is too crowded now with Algier and Connor and Trey Benson. My other takeaway is tackling the Arizona Cardinals is gonna fucking suck. Seriously. James Conner, Tyler Algier, that is just like running into like Aaron Judge swinging a sledgehammer at you play after play after play. And then also Trey Benson led the NFL in missed tackles forced per attempt last year. So trying to tackle the Arizona Cardinals backfield is going to freaking suck. I'm not touching any of these guys in fantasy football because they're all going to get like 8 carries a game. But fascinating, but good value for Algier. 2-year, $12 million. We got the Travis Etienne signing. Missed that. Travis Etienne goes to the Saints. 4-year, $52 million contract. That's one where I need to see the guarantees. I worry about the longevity on Travis Etienne. I think the Jags worry about the longevity and him kind of being that, signing a guy off of a healthy contract season always is going to have its dangers. I think in a vacuum, 4 years, 52, which is, what is that, 12? 13? I think Travis Etienne's worth $13 million if he can stay healthy. And the Saints definitely needed some juice in that backfield. So I think that absolutely works for me. One thing that is becoming very fascinating, and I'm kind of tying this all together, the probability of Jeremiah Love falling in the draft is increasing exponentially here because the Cardinals ain't doing it. The Saints ain't doing it, I don't think, after they give Travis Etienne all that money, and the Chiefs aren't doing it. Those are 3 teams in the top 9 that are pretty consistently mocked Jeremiah Love. So that is a big like mock draft and draft story there is what does that mean? Because once you get to like 11 through 16, all those teams have running backs. So it's like, are the Vikings looking at this like, ooh, or are the Broncos looking at this like, ooh, a trade-up opportunity maybe will be there. So there's still a couple teams that could maybe surprise us there, but that is fascinating. So yeah, on Travis Etienne, like good fit for New Orleans, and him in a wide zone system this year was really fun to see, and that's going to be actually just kidding. I'm still thinking of Clint Kubiak in New Orleans, but Travis Etienne can run any system anyway. But I like getting the juice and the explosive playability behind an offensive line that I think has a chance of really coming together, especially because they also pair it with David Edwards. 4 years, $61 million. Okay, I should have tied that all together. I really like that, dude. New Orleans guard situation was brutal last year. And if you can now get David Edwards, who's been a really good player for the Bills, really good balanced guard, to slide in with, man, if Eric McCoy could just stay healthy, dude, like one of the big ifs for the Saints. But a couple of rookie tackles you like. You still have one more guard spot. Well, you do have Cesar Ruiz as well. So, like, dude, that really ties things together. I think we can probably stop mocking Vega Ione to the Saints. Saints fans will like that, I think. But yeah, that paired with Travis Etienne is really fun. You had a good O-line, good run game for Tyler Shuck. The NFC South is getting interesting here. Then we got Wan'Dale Robinson signs with the Titans. I don't have contract details there. I saw some pretty big like projections for what he was going to get. So chat, I don't know if we have the details on Wan'Dale's contract or not. If you guys could help me out. Sagan is saying 4 years, 78. So you're looking at 16-ish. 19 and a half. Depends how much of that is guaranteed. I mean, would I pay Wan'Dale Robinson that much money? No. Nope, I certainly would not. But sometimes, the guarantees is really all that matters. Because, you could take a 4-year, $78 million deal, and it's really a 2-year, $13 million deal, and then you just cut them, depending on where you structure it. And someone says 38 guaranteed, so about half guaranteed. Do I think he sees the end of that contract in Tennessee? Probably not. But it gives you a reliable pass catcher. And I guess it's fine. I mean, we know that's Brian Dable's guy. So that's nice, I guess. Wan'Dale had a nice year. And credit where credit's due. You got to remember Wan'Dale was like getting down the field, like running some more vertical stuff from the slot this year, and showed a little bit more than just the guy that was like a historically low yards per reception guy. So I don't want to just totally poo-poo this signing. It's just like, I don't know. Wan'Dale's all right. I think you could probably find a Wan'Dale Robinson for cheaper than that. But Tennessee's got money to throw around. So let's talk about Mike Evans. I know this is a big one. Everyone's excited to hear about. Mike Evans signs a 3-year deal with the San Francisco 49ers. It is going to be weird. At least his color scheme's not going to really change. But it's going to be weird to see Mike Evans not in a Bucs jersey. And I know Trevor Sikkema is probably he's probably doing what we're doing right now, except I'm drinking because I'm on vacation, and Trevor's drinking his sorrows away as his favorite player, maybe of all time, is leaving. But shout out Trevor. So, 3-year deal for Mike Evans. It's interesting because when I think of Niners wide receivers, I think of speed, run after catch, crossing routes. Not necessarily like prototypical X type of stuff, which obviously Mike Evans is. Brock Purdy as well. Do I think of Brock Purdy as the most efficient, working the sidelines, pushing back shoulders and dropping over the shoulder go balls? Not typically. So it is, I'm not going to lie, it's kind of a square peg round hole signing from his just overall fit. It's Mike Evans. Like, it's, they'll figure it out. If he's on the field, he's a great football player. And maybe they plan to use him a lot more like they used Juwan Jennings at times, but I think Juwan Jennings is better in that role than Mike Evans is better in that role, just because Jennings is much better after the catch. So, yeah, I have a hard time kind of processing that one. Like, I'm not gonna say I'm totally surprised, but I will just say square peg, round hole. But with a player like Mike Evans, you can kind of square peg, round hole it and figure it out. So it's fun. The Niners are in a really tough spot, honestly, like underratedly so, where you got Bosa coming off another injury. Fred, I think, will be fine. Like, Fred was pushing to get back for the playoffs. Like, I'm not worried about Fred, but I am worried about Bosa staying healthy. I'm worried about George Kittle at 32 years old coming off an Achilles pop. I'm worried about what's happening with Trent Williams. Sounds like he's on the trade market. Christian McCaffrey, I shared his stats on Twitter, but I think he is probably the biggest regression candidate in the league as we head into next year. You got a lot of holes on defense. They're in a really weird spot where because they just aren't the best drafting team. They just aren't. Not on a full scale. Like, they can find their gems, but they waste a lot of value in the draft. They have a very thin roster and a very old roster, and Mike Evans doesn't make them any younger or any less injury prone, right? Like, Mike Evans has had a hard time staying healthy now. So it's weird. It's a weird signing. I don't know. I don't think it's going to work. It's kind of what it comes down to, but it's fun. It's fun. Like, okay. Another signing for the Jets. They get David Onyemata. Great. Drop him in the middle of that defense. So you're getting some of these Saints guys now. David Onyemata would have been with Aaron Glenn, I think, back in the Saints days. Like, I think that would have been overlap. You had Demario Davis. I didn't really make that connection until I saw the Onyemata. But you get the veteran connection. It just even further ramps up what I said about me liking what the Jets are doing. Kehvaris Tonga signs a 3-year extension with the Chiefs. Underrated nose tackle. Very nice player. I'm curious if he finally got his money because Tonga's been like kicked around the league, dude. The Bears, first the Vikings drafted him, and then they didn't want him. And then the Bears had him, and then they didn't want him. And then he's been on what was he on the Cardinals? And then where was he last year? Like, he's just been kind of thrown around the league, but he's kind of balled everywhere he's been as a nose tackle. And that's exactly what the Chiefs value, is a big, chunky nose tackle next to Chris Jones. So I like that. I'm going to imagine it's not that expensive. Probably like 3 years, $12 million for Tonga would be my guess. But I think, we just got Jahan Dotson to the Falcons. 2-year, $15 million. Okay, I guess. I do like I take that back. I think that's interesting. I think Jahan Dotson played really well in Philly. It's kind of like being the number 2 wide receiver for Justin Fields. You know, being the number 3 wide receiver for Jalen Hurts. Like, he's just never going to look at you unless you have like one play that's like specifically designed for you, which we've seen at times from Jahan Dotson. And he's typically executed. Like, when they call Jahan Dotson's number, like in the Super Bowl, they were like, you're going to get the number 3 corner, Jahan. So go line up, beat this guy, and we'll get you a touchdown. Like, you know, I think him being looked at kind of a buy low candidate is a fun signing for Atlanta. And, you know, he gets to kind of get into the mix there with Pitts in London. So I can get behind that. Get behind being interested in what Jahan Dotson's going to do. Chat saying 3 for 21 for Tonga. Hey, good for you, Tonga. Finally getting paid. I think that's a good deal. I do. I think he's worth it. So I think we're all caught up on signings. Now I think I need to catch up on Super Chats because you guys have been awesome with the Super Chats here. So let's do that. Got a decent amount of these, so we're going to rip through these. Thank you, everybody that has shown your support for the Super Chats. If you guys are watching this and you're not subscribed, please do. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Please do like the stream as well. If you're watching this on like Twitter, and maybe you're watching this on Twitter, you didn't even know I had a YouTube channel. Go to my YouTube, That Franchise Guy. Make sure you subscribe. But with that, Super Chats. You guys are awesome. $5 from Cheesehead Joey. Green Bay wants to save those comp picks, but what could you see for the Pack? I like Javon Hargrave at nose tackle or maybe Reek Woolen. So if I'm the Packers, I'm not signing... I don't want to play with losing those comp picks because you don't have a first-round pick next year in what's supposed to be a tremendous draft. They don't have a lot of wiggle room anyway, but that doesn't mean there aren't guys out there that make sense for them to bring in that doesn't impact the comp pick formula. They already did that with Zaire Franklin. That was a nice free agent move for them you're going to let Quay Walker go. You're able to kind of get at least a lateral move, if not a slight upgrade. I think Zaire Franklin next to Jonathan Cooper in that setup, I think, is probably an upgrade. If you needed an LB1 that can cover a little bit more, Quay Walker probably makes more sense. But I think Zaire is a much better run defender than Quay Walker, and I think that's totally fine. But I still think they bring Trayvon Diggs back, and that would not impact the comp pick formula. I think they signed probably Dalvin Tomlinson. Still, the guy I predicted that they might trade for. That's probably my two moves. Is I'm giving Trayvon Diggs 1 year, $6 million, and I'm giving Dalvin Tomlinson whatever he's not going to be expensive. But those are probably the two big ones. And honestly, man, I like that they brought Sean Ryan back. I think the Packers are in a really good spot. I really do. Yeah. So I guess maybe a running back, I would say. Like I mentioned, the Bucs running back that they didn't tender, Sean Tucker. Like that's maybe a position I would try to go, or bring Aaron Jones back actually would be great as a backup running back, like great compliment to Josh Jacobs. That's my final answer. Aaron Jones, Dalvin Tomlinson, Trayvon Diggs. You're in, comp pick formula unaffected, and you're looking at maybe as much as, because with what Malik Willis got, Rasheed Walker's going to get you a third. We'll see what Dobbs gets you. And then Quay Walker probably gets you a fourth. We'll see what Quay Walker gets, but you're looking at 2/3 at least, and then probably 2/4. But yeah, it's going to be pretty crazy with all the guys they have hitting the market. Okay. Antonio says, damn, my free agent wish list was Algier and Phillips. And I think Antonio's a Niners fan. So you get Mike Evans. I'm curious what you think about getting Mike Evans, Antonio, but sorry you didn't get your boys. The Warhammer says, what do the Hawks do now, losing all of our free agents? So at safety, losing, I'm actually okay with that. Losing, I think Mike McDonald can recreate Kobe Bryant. I do. I'm not worried about it. And they might even have that guy in-house in Ty Okada, who was super fun last year. But I wouldn't be too worried about losing Kobe Bryant. I just wouldn't. The running back thing I talked about, like, I think they're making a mistake losing a big impact on that offense in Kenneth Walker, but we do know running backs are findable. But this is it. The other thing about the Kenneth Walker thing for the Seahawks is, of all the years to not just franchise tag your running back, this would be the one, because this is like a uniquely bad running back draft class. So it's not as easy to look at this draft and be like, yeah, you can let Kenneth Walker go, but you can take your second or third round pick and find a starter. Like, I don't know if that necessarily is the case this year. Now, I'm going to be watching running backs this week when I'm down in Naples on vacation, sitting on the beach. So maybe I like this running back class more than everybody says, but there just hasn't been a lot of buzz for it. Edwards says, good for Linderbaum getting paid, but 27 mil, nah. I disagree, dude. I would absolutely pay, especially if you're the Raiders, dude. Like, who cares? You realize how much freaking cap space the Raiders have, especially after they traded Max Crosby? Like, they have to spend money just to be within compliance. I don't care how much it costs, especially if I'm the Raiders, but I think all the other teams were probably looking at 24, 25 million as well. So I love that for both parties. From Jacob, thoughts on the Texans so far? The Texans have been pretty quiet as far as I can tell. You know, we set off the rip of the stream that extending Ed Ingram is fine. I just want to see him continue to get better as a pass blocker, but what he did as a run blocker was really special this year. And then they traded Titus Howard. I kind of understood that because Titus Howard gets like 20 plus million from Cleveland. I can understand if you're the Texans and you say, well, we've got extra draft capital. You got your own first, and you have the early second from Washington. If you think you can get a tackle in this draft class in that range, which is not crazy to think, it's a pretty deep tackle draft, especially after you just had success on Ariante Ursary. They extended Trent Brown, but that would be a mistake, in my opinion, to count on getting a full season out of Trent Brown. Like, I don't think that changes your thoughts on whether or not you draft a tackle. But For me, it's almost like an incomplete move from the Texans. I think if you're counting on Blake Fisher and Trent Brown being your right tackle, that's a mistake. If you execute and get a tackle in the draft, then great. I think getting a pick and not paying Titus Howard $21 million, probably a good call. But I also like that Titus Howard has flexibility because he can play guard or tackle at a high level. So it was a iffy move from the Texans, I would say. Other than that, I feel like they haven't really done much, right? Am I wrong? Maybe I'm missing something, and let me know if I am. But let's keep catching up on Super Chat. Look, just peeking over at the chat, it looks like Zion Johnson signed, Devin Bush signed. So we're going to go through the Super Chats, and then we're going to revisit. We're going to come back to the new signings that we get, and then we're going to be getting closer to the end of the stream here. But from Monty, shout out, producer Monty. Monty's always coming into these streams, dropping $20. You're the GOAT, Monty. Thank you so much, my man. Awesome stuff for the Broncos so far. Who wants Algier to support JK? Well, you missed out on that. Sorry, we're a little behind on this. It says it's a deep linebacker class, so let's prioritize getting Singleton back. Troutman can't catch or block, so he's our guy. Let's go. Yeah, the Troutman thing, like, that's been Sean Payton's dude, and he just never really developed. I feel like he's been the same guy since he first came into the league. So yeah, extending him when like someone like Daniel Bellinger's out there, I think is a much better blocker. But yeah, that one was weird. I do think the Broncos should look at this running back free agency and try to find somebody. I do. But yeah, thank you, Monty. You're the man. Eggnoggin says, I put my K9 jersey on today for good luck, hoping we'd re-sign him. I heard on the radio 6 minutes later he was gone. Was very tempted to go drive into a tree. Don't know what we're doing now. We got no running back. Yeah, I would be pretty upset if I'm a Seahawks fan. To me, it was just such a no-brainer. Just put the tag on him. You think he's probably going to be happy to, come back and try to compete for another ring. Maybe not, but like the whole idea of like holding out, it's just not very real for these players unless he just sits the entire season out. But just put the tag on him and wait till next year's class is better, or until you can draft a guy in the 4th round and find out if he's good, or at least wait till Zach Charbonnet is healthy, right? Like he's not healthy heading into the year. So just weird. Yeah, and then right after that, Warhammer says Schneider was never paying Walker 4th RB money. Here's what I want to say. Seahawks fans are very confident in what John Schneider is or isn't going to do. I think you should probably stop assuming what he's going to do, because it was, they should take Devon Witherspoon with the 6th pick. No, they'll never take a corner in the top 10. Well, look what happened. Last year, the Seahawks should take Gray Zabel in the 1st round. Comment after comment after comment after comment after comment after comment after comment. The Seahawks don't value guard. They'll never take a guard in the 1st. So you know what I'm saying? Like, look, John Schneider has shown he'll adapt his philosophy. He'll adapt to the market. And I think this is a case of him not adapting to the market, not realizing what this running back class is. That, look, teams are paying running backs and being right for doing so. Like, really, when was the last time a running back got paid and it was like a mistake in the modern NFL? It's not really a great example of it for a long time. So, that's my thoughts on that. I think it is a mistake by Seattle, but they get a pass because they just won the Super Bowl and John Schneider just freaking ran circles around the NFL for a year as a GM. But, from Jack, it looks like another Seahawks comment. I think people are forgetting how inconsistent Walker was before the playoff run. Also an awful blocker. Also, Seattle has to pay Hall, JSN, and Spoon. So I think if the argument, I think Le'Veon Bell in the chat signing with the Jets was the last time. But I don't think giving Kenneth Walker $14 million a year when you have $80 million in cap space prevents the Seahawks from signing Derek Hall, JSN, and Devon Witherspoon. I just disagree with their running backs don't matter assessment. I think the league has shown us for about 2 or 3 years that things are changing. So I just disagree with the decision. From Unlucky Trev, catching up on free agent thoughts on likely signing and Wan'Dale leaving. So we did hit on those, but because you gave us the super chat, and you probably heard this anyway because I'm catching up on the super chats, but I would not have wanted to pay Wan'Dale Robinson what he got if I were the Giants. So I guess you just got to replace it. You got to find a way to replace it. The likely signing is it's okay for me. I've always been I like Isaiah Likely for what he is. There's been times where he's underrated. There's been times where he's overrated. He's a good F tight end, that is. He's a good slot weapon. In many ways, signing Isaiah Likely is replacing Wan'Dale Robinson because he's going to play 60% of his snaps as a slot wide receiver for you. So in many ways, you are replacing Wan'Dale there. But and maybe that actually makes me like it a little bit more, that Wan'Dale, that vacant opening from the Wan'Dale signing. But thank you for the super chat. Unlucky Trev. From Jarendetti, $5 super chat. Thank you. Based off early thoughts, do you think the Rams are your early number one power rankings for this upcoming season? I can't say. There's no deep dive spoilers on this channel, Jaren. You know I can't spoil that. You could have done a $100 super chat, and I'm not spoiling the deep dive ranks. But I do appreciate the support, and I like where the Rams are doing. I'll say that. From ZD, Godspeed and good health to the wife and the baby. And fuck Green Bay. Appreciate you, ZD. All love. Oh, you're cracking me up. Peter says, any thoughts on the Tunsil extension for the Commanders? One of those deals where it's like, I don't even know what the money was and I don't care. Whatever Jeremy Tunsil wants, Jeremy Tunsil gets. Like, especially after you traded all that for him. But, he was awesome, man. Yeah, absolutely extend Jeremy Tunsil. That's a no-brainer. Brandon, what's up, buddy? Just saying, ooh. From Ethan, says, just want to say I appreciate your content. As a Ravens fan, I'm fine not paying Linderbaum, but all that, but congrats to Raiders fans. Yeah, the Raiders did just kind of come in with FU money. I mean, I think if he signs for 23 or 22, were kind of the reports, I think you're looking at it really Baltimore, but he goes another $8 million. $8 million's another starter. If you're saying the center market is 19 mil, we could get another starter and a center. If you start to do the math in your head, I'd still be pretty pissed if I'm a Ravens fan. It kind of reminds me. It doesn't kind of remind me. It totally reminds me. And this might not hit for every one of you in the chat, but the Packers, John Franklin Myers just signed with the Titans, so Garrett just got big points in the free agency draft, which I think I'm the only one that doesn't have a hit yet, by the way, in the free agency draft. But congrats, Garrett. Big dub for you. Great call. I liked that out the gate. That was your number one pick, too, so that was nice. Nice call. But what I was saying was when the Packers lost Devontae Adams, they did the same thing that the Ravens just did, where they basically said, no, this is the market. And even if there's some kind of quote unquote fake market or a new market is what it's really called out there, we're not willing to be the first team that agrees to the new market. And what happened was you had DeAndre Hopkins was on the Cardinals at the time. His AAV was like $29 million because the Cardinals had traded for him and then extended him on top of that. So like the Texans were paying half his contract and the Cardinals were like, we just want to make DeAndre happy. So his AAV was like fake money. And the Packers were like, no, we're not gonna reset the wide receiver market and pay you $5 million more than we think you're worth. So we're gonna let you go. Now the Packers traded him for a first and a second round pick, but I do think it hurt their ability clearly to compete that next year. And yeah, like basically the same idea where the Ravens are like, look, we're not willing to agree to a drastic change in what the market is. And now anybody that extends their center is going to have to pay him $27 million a year if they're an elite center or a great center, if they're a Pro Bowl caliber center. So it's an interesting conversation, I think. So Thomas Grimes says LVN and Sorrell as starters for the Packers. I will admit, losing Kingsley Enagbari hurts. Gary was expected. I am interested in what Colin Oliver can do for the Packers. And I really like Lucas Van Ness. I know it makes me a homer, but if you really track like how they actually played last year and you look at the fact that they were both injured, Lucas Van Ness and Matthew Golden, you look at the fact that they were both like really injured last year and no one really talked about it. I think both Lucas Van Ness and Matthew Golden are going to make a lot of people regret forgetting about those players. So, I mean, can the Packers go out and find, like, I would love like Jadeveon Clowney for Green Bay for like a 1 year, $10 million deal, something like that. Whoever it might be, some cheap veteran just to eat some early snaps early in the season. But yeah, once Micah comes back, I think Micah and LVN are going to be a problem this year. But yeah, you know, if Micah's going to miss the first couple weeks, which isn't a guarantee, by the way, but if Micah's going to miss the first couple weeks, you might be praying that the NFL gifts you with some easy opponents in those first couple weeks. Killshot says, what do you think the Browns do? I mean, Titus Howard was a pretty big hand that they played already. That was kind of their big, $20 million free agent splash. I don't know that the Browns make too much noise. I would imagine like maybe they look at like Romeo Doubs or try to find someone in that wide receiver room, but I feel like the Browns will probably be pretty quiet, and then they'll probably will go to like the bargain bin for offensive linemen. But yeah, I don't see the Browns being terribly active here. Good Game says best pickup for the Broncos. I'm trying to think of like what running back is where my mind first goes for them. I mean, I think Sean Tucker would be like, I keep coming back to him, but I would have liked Algier for them quite a lot. I'm trying to think of who else is out there. Hold on. I want to pull up. Well, it's going to take a while to find it, so I'll go with not the most exciting answer, but a realistic answer. Sean Tucker would be a really fun, sneaky piece. Someone did say Rashad White. That was the next super chat from Carson. You already have all these receiving style backs. I'm just not the biggest Rashad White guy. Honestly, it could be something like, what if the Titans do take Jeremiah Love? And it's a post-draft move where you're like, hey, we'll take Tony Pollard off your hands. That's a thought. I got it. Najee Harris. Najee Harris to the Broncos. There you go. Just keep the J.K. Dobbins arc, right? Dobbins was in L.A., then he got hurt. Najee Harris in L.A., he gets hurt. He's going to follow within that division. There you go. There's your final answer, you guys. Najee Harris. You are a Denver Bronco. Congratulations. From Zeitrox. Is it okay to be happy about Cade Mays for 8 instead of Linderbaum in his contract? Dude, I hope you saw my reaction when I saw that he signed with the Lions, because that should tell you all you need to know. I think that's that's one of the best value deals of free agency here. I would not be the least bit surprised if Cade Mays is like a legit Pro Bowl player for the Lions. Like, that fit is just so spot on. Chef's kiss. And yes, I would rather, as much as I love Linderbaum, I'd rather give Cade Mays $8 million over Linderbaum 27. Especially if you're Detroit. Like, context matters, right? The Raiders, money ain't a thing. Like, they're like the Los Angeles Dodgers this offseason. Like, they got unlimited money. No restrictions. It ain't frickin' matter. We're going to just drop our FU money over all y'all. You want somebody? Sucks to suck. All right. Grom, how do you feel about Tootin now that Etienne is no longer in Jacksonville? I mean, yeah, dude. That'll be a big deal to track what happens with Jacksonville. Like, do they go and add someone? I know I'm bringing this name up a lot, and it'll be interesting if it proves worth to bring this name up a lot. But Sean Tucker would make a lot of sense in Jacksonville because he had his best year with Cohen the year before in Tampa. So that's something to keep an eye on, I think, is like Sean Tucker getting in there and, you know, maybe taking the full workload away from Tootin. But obviously, dude, like, tape looked good, super explosive player. He's got the speed that everybody loves at running back. And like, opportunity, good offense. That's the type of guy that you listen to your fantasy football podcasts and everybody's got the same take where it's like, yeah, go get Byshell Tootin. Like, this guy's going to break out like that. If Jacksonville doesn't add a whole lot of running back, that's going to be a very popular take. Is that Tootin's going to be a big breakout player next year? Because that's pretty easy to call. Tyler says Ryan Poles is the most confusing GM in the league. He can look so good sometimes, but also only hit on Andrew Billings for all his D-line signings. Yeah, dude, I'll say this, and I already kind of shredded them for lighting $6 million on fire with I can't even, his name is like escaping me already. Oklahoma D tackle. I'm pulling it up. Neville Gallimore. I already kind of shredded them for lighting $6 million on fire there. Don't get that. But if they miss out on Trey Hendrickson, that's kind of the like worst case scenario for the Bears. Where Dahlman retires, you don't get Linderbaum, and then you trade away DJ Moore to free up cap space. And like, look, I think trading DJ Moore was the right idea for the Bears, but it was kind of off the idea that they were going to do something important with that money. And if they don't now go get Trey Hendrickson and, you know, Jaelan Phillips is off the market, if it's not Trey Hendrickson for the Bears, I think you're talking actually about a really discouraging offseason for Chicago when you really wanted to see them put the pedal down. And maybe Bears fans don't agree with me there, but that's me trying to be unbiased about it, but no one's going to see it as unbiased because, you know, I'm a Packers fan. But like, I'll say this, like, as a Packers fan, I don't want to say anything yet because if you get Trey Hendrickson, that's going to suck. But I think you know where I was going with that. All right. The mod with the dirt And also a super chat from Gardening Tips. Got to get my wife to subscribe to your YouTube channel. My wife does need gardening tips, so I'll tell her to go subscribe to your channel. My wife has very much a green thumb. She's a big fan of, like, we've got in our basement right now, we've got like grow lights and we've got some plants growing, but it's not those kind of plants. It's like peppers and herbs and, the good stuff, not the good. But another super chat from the mod with the dirt. Can we be serious? Did the Vikings re-sign the long snapper? That was the best pick of the free agent draft. Oh my God, dude. Garrett, if you're still here, thank you again. And you guys, well, at this point, free agency is kind of happening, so you might not want to go back and watch a free agent predictions draft. But, dude, when Garrett drafted and predicted that the Vikings re-signed their long snapper in the free agent draft, that was an elite channel moment. Like, Garrett, thank you for the laughs. That was incredible. But it hasn't happened yet. And then Arif followed up and said they re-signed the punter, and that punter went to New Orleans. So Arif missed out on his punter pick. Just good stuff, man. That show was incredible. I can't wait to make that a yearly thing. That was just so great. I hope you guys enjoyed it. All right, from Arlo, happy free agency day. Thoughts on the Bears Kobe Bryant signing. So hopefully we get all this stuff. And the next super chat as well is thoughts on Kobe Bryant and Devin Bush signings to Chicago. So we haven't gotten to Devin Bush yet, but let's do that now, I guess. Actually, no, I'm going to make you wait for Devin Bush because we kind of have a structure here where we're going to finish these super chats and then we're going to react to any more free agent signings that I haven't done so far, and then that's going to be it for me. But we talked about Kobe Bryant earlier. It's just like it's a vanilla signing is what I would say. It's not a bad signing. It's not a crazy signing. I said the most exciting thing about Kobe Bryant is his name is Kobe Bryant. As a player, it's a nice safety. You paid a market price for a starting safety that you needed. So it's just like, all right, I understand it. Like, I don't have any, like, there's nothing about it that's like, oh my God, wow, Kobe Bryant on the Bears is going to be amazing. Nothing about it that's like, I don't understand it either. So it's just like nice, solid, vanilla signing. Echo, thank you. Congrats on keeping Alec Pierce. I am happy for you, Echo Warrior. That would have sucked. If just for Colts fans have been through some rough years, to lose Alec Pierce with what he's turned into and is going to continue to be, it would have sucked, man. The Colts are big winners today. Colts fans especially, for keeping Alec Pierce around. I think the world is going to realize how talented that dude is. Keegan says, Charlie Kolar to LAC was my dream, to be honest. Did he do that? Did that happen? I guess I can refresh the transactions page. I mean, Charlie Kolar is my freaking dude. Ooh, man, that's a TFG draft my guy dilemma in LA right now with Charlie Kolar and Arden Gadsden Jr. I will say this. I made a trade. Hear this one out, chat. In one of my dynasty leagues, I made a trade. I actually traded away Arden Gadsden. And I got not Zach Taylor, Mason Taylor. I got Kyle Williams and Taj Brooks for Arden Gadsden. And now that Charlie Kolar has signed with the Chargers, I think I kind of F with that trade right now. And no receivers have gone to New England yet. A.J. Brown still might. But I do like, Kolar gets an opportunity that he has earned, and he has developed as a blocker. Him and Gadsden are a good fit. And I'm excited for that for the Chargers fans. And 3 years, 24 millions could be a great value for a Kolar. So I like that. We do actually have a decent list of free agent signings to react to, but we have one more super chat that I haven't hit on, and that is from Julius. What if the Rams just said screw it and take Love at 13? Nah. No, that wouldn't make any sense. Kyron Williams and Blake Corum are really good players, dude. There's no reason to do that. And then Fedorowski just said thoughts on Zion to the Browns. So let's do that. Let's transition there. Thank you, Zion. Let's transition there to the free agent list here as we get towards the end of the stream here. So 3-year, $49 million deal for the Browns. I said the Browns are going to go bargain bin shopping on the O-line, hinting at them making more O-line signings. 3 years, $50 million on Zion puts that at, well, just under 50, but $16 million a year for Zion. Sure. I would say it's like a slight overpay, but that's kind of what happens. That's not kind of what happens. That's definitely what happens. It's a better signing than my Packers giving Aaron Banks $20 million. I'll say that. But yeah, if the Browns can swing it, the Browns cap situation just confuses me because the way they do it, it's just never quite clear how much money they spend. Fans are going to tell you that they've got a lot of money to spend, but it just kind of comes down to how much do you want to keep kicking that can down the road? But they do a brilliant job managing their cap. So it's always interesting to see how much spending power did the Browns really have? And they're showing us that they do. They've now purchased 2 big offensive linemen. Zion's a nice player. It's just he can get overwhelmed by power because he's a smaller guy. But he's a nice starting guard. It's a fine signing for the Browns, and you gotta get. I think the Browns had to get at least 2 solid veteran signings, and they've done that. Is Titus Howard and Zion Johnson gonna blow you away? But it's a starting. No, it's not. But it's a starting point. So getting closer. Cup, who's showing up in the chat with the members icon. Shout out to my YouTube members. I hope you guys have been enjoying Studs and Duds. I actually have the the NFC West episode is basically done. That's going to drop not long after this stream. So shout out to the members and the Patreon gang for your support. Studs and Duds is coming. And then the last division is unfortunately going to be when I get back from vacation. I'm sorry I didn't get it done in time. Just a lot has been going on. We've been dropping a lot of content this week, so I don't think you can really complain. We had a lot of good shows this week, but anyway, he asked, would you rather have Zion Johnson or Ed Ingram? I think I trust Zion Johnson more. Ed Ingram's a little more interesting because it's if he could clean up the pass protection, he's a much better player. Ed Ingram was really impressive as a run blocker, but week to week, he might get your quarterback killed. So it's just a little bit different. Also, super chat from RJ Walsh. Yes, I reacted to James Pierre to the Vikings. Really good value. I actually like that move a lot. All right, let's keep going through these things. So we had John Franklin Myers. Garrett nailed it with the free agent prediction. A little more expensive than Garrett predicted here. 3 years, $63 million. For John Franklin Myers, but excellent signing, reunites with Saleh. Titans D-line has been such an issue with edge players, and Franklin Myers in this system is going to play a little early down edge, and then any passing downs, he's going to slide in there next to Jeffrey Simmons. So you hope Jermaine Johnson can stay healthy. Ideally, they could get an edge that they like. I would love to see Ruben Bain in there. And that system, if they could pull that off, would be freaking crazy. But I do love dropping John Franklin Myers. Super underrated, good player who's now made a lot of money in his career. And that's a big loss for Denver, by the way. I think Denver's going to feel that more than people realize. I think he's... Oh, man. I can't quite go there because it's just setting myself up to look like an idiot. I can't quite go as far as saying he's the most important pass rusher on that D-line ahead of Nick Bonito. I can't quite go there. I'll just say it's a lot closer than I think a lot of people realize, and I think they're gonna miss him. I don't think Savion Jones, who they drafted to replace him, is gonna be able to give them anything close to what John Franklin Myers did, but I can always be wrong. Colts got Arden Key. All right, I like Arden Key. He plugs into a deep edge room, you know. Kwity Paye is a pending free agent, I think, at this point. Is Kwity Paye gone at this point? But even if he's there, you know, Kwity just has been an edge 3, but I'm pretty sure Quiddy's gone at this point. So you needed someone else in there. Arden Key's just a nice kind of mid-range number 2 edge. I like Arden Key. 2 years, $20 million is a good value there. So I can be just fine with that for the Colts. We've got Tremaine Edmunds goes to the Giants. So welcome back to the East Coast for Tremaine Edmunds. 3 years, $36 million. I think it's a good price for Tremaine Edmunds. He's a good player. Bears just decided that cap space was going to be more useful elsewhere. Edmunds is just like, he's always just kind of had something missing, is kind of my analysis on Edmunds. Like, things are going to happen naturally for him because he's such a freak athlete. He's got the length. He's got the speed. He has weeks where he's just like dominant in coverage and weeks where he's just not seeing things. But as a run defender, he kind of just lacks that killer instinct. So, you know, he's a fine player. I think New York probably was just worried about Okereke's injury projection moving forward. So you get a little bit more of a durable player there, which is fine. You know, just kind of a pretty close to an even swap with him and Okereke, I would say, in terms of like level of player. But I think 3 for $36 is fair value for Tremaine Edmunds. Cordale Flott. Whoa. Dude, Tennessee ain't effing playing around. And Alontae Taylor. Oh my God. Oh, Tennessee. Holy buckets. Do I have a soundbite for this? I mean, it kind of works.
Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.
That's what Tennessee's doing. So they gave Wan'Dale Robinson $20 million. They gave John Franklin Myers $20 million. Now they give Cordale Flott 3 years, $45. And Alontae Taylor 3 years, $60. Okay, so they did desperately need corners. It's just like paying the combination of Alontae Taylor. It's the $20 million a year for Alontae Taylor is what really blows me away. Cordale Flott, 3 for $45, still blows me away. I didn't think those guys' markets were anything close to that. Flott had a good year with the Giants, and this is another Brian Daboll going to get his guy back, you know, putting in a good word at least. So risky signing. I don't want my overreaction to make it sound like this can't work. I'm just kind of processing this in real time because I didn't realize they threw that much money out for these guys. But Flott had a good year for the Giants. Finally kind of went outside a little bit more. He's been known as Cordale Slot for a lot of his time. But he played outside for the Giants last year and was good. It's just a small sample size. And I would imagine there's not a lot of guarantees on that money. So it's like if it doesn't work, you can probably get out of that. So I think that's an interesting high-risk, high-reward signing for the Titans who desperately need cornerback help. Alontae Taylor with Robert Saleh gets me freaking fired up. Is he worth $20 million a year? I don't know that he's worth half of that. But Alontae Taylor he's one of the most fun corners to watch because I think Alontae Taylor plays the cornerback position like I think we all would do like a cornerback superstar mode in Madden or College Football 26, where it's like, fuck my assignment, I'm going to make a play. And he's gotten better at that, but that's kind of how he plays, man. Like he is going to chase after everything with his 4.3 speed, and he loves to hit people, and Robert Saleh is going to love him. That's a crazy amount of money to give Alontae Taylor, but hey, okay. All I'll say about the Titans is history will tell you that it's not good process to give a bunch of guys way more than they're worth. That almost never works. Because even if things work out this year, these are the kind of contracts that come back to bite you in a year or two. And would I make all three of those at once? I think that's what teams that put themselves into a corner that have to make dramatic overpays and bad decisions, that's what happens. And history would tell you this is how bad teams stay bad. Like, I think you can make any one of these individual signings and say, no, this is what we really need. We really believe in the player. Dude. And John Franklin Myers, I'm all on board with that one. That one I think he's worth every penny of that. You got familiarity. It fills the need. Like, I'm not talking about that signing. It's the combination of Alontae Taylor, Cordell Flott, and Wan'Dale Robinson on average getting 54 divided by 3, like $18 million average between those three guys. Ooh, I don't know, Jim. I don't know about that. It's kind of close. All right. So, J.K. Dobbins back with Denver on my list here. Why not? Just don't count on him to stay healthy again. I like J.K. Dobbins. I hope he can do it again, man. This dude has been... He's an Iron Man in the sense of his ability to come back from these injuries when I just assume it's not going to happen again. But he's not an Iron Man in terms of being able to stay healthy. So I respect the hell out of J.K. Dobbins. It's just, okay, you bring him back, presumably for really cheap. And I would just say, honestly, at this point, I would just stash him. Like, if you don't find another running back, do what the Chiefs used to do with Jerick McKinnon, where he just wouldn't play until like week 16. Why not do that with J.K. Dobbins if you're Denver? Or just use him in like very critical, like 3rd and 2, have to have it situations. Okay, Josh Jobe re-signed with the Seahawks, 3 years, $24 million. That's not a surprise. He kind of edged out Tariq Woolen as the year went on, and he continued to play well. Like, full credit to Josh Jobe. I think he's really developed from what he was coming out. A lot of people are saying, has he reacted to Devin Bush yet? It's just not in my feed. So I was hoping it would show up in my free agent feed here, because sometimes these signings get reported and then they're not legit. So I'm curious why I'm not seeing Devin Bush on my side. Both of my feeds do not have Devin Bush in here. Are we sure that it's official? I'm going to wait on Devin Bush for a second, because Bryan Cook signed with the Bengals, 3-year, $40 million. So, hey, the league has shown us what a safety costs. 3 years, $40 million. Bryan Cook, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Kobe Bryant. Bryan Cook had a good year for the Chiefs. He did. He raises the floor of the Bengals safety room, which is all they needed. And I figured the Bengals would be shopping in this $10 to $15 million range. The Bengals very quietly have a lot of money. I'm pretty bummed that they lost Joseph Osai, if I'm a Bengals fan, if I'm being honest. Like, I would much rather, that's about the same money that Joseph Osai got. I would have much rather kept Joseph Osai around than paid Bryan Cook. But I don't think Bryan Cook is bad. He's just not really a playmaker. But they've had such a garbage floor with their safety room that just dropping someone in there that's going to tackle and not blow coverages and understand the defense. And Bryan Cook handled a Steve Spagnuolo defense. He can handle whatever you want to put on his plate. He's also from Cincinnati, so that's fun. Or at least he played his college ball in Cincy. So he comes home. So that signing is understandable. But same thing with like the Bears. Like same analysis. You needed a safety. That's the price of a safety. I think Bryan Cook and Kobe Bryant are in the same bucket. That's really all I'm seeing. Now, okay, so everyone's saying Devin Bush has happened. Maybe I'm just blind and can't see it. Yeah, I don't know why Spotrac doesn't have it, and it makes me wonder if I'm missing any other. Because I'm just going down the Spotrac transactions feed. But people are saying 3 years, $30 million for Devin Bush. So Devin Bush had a really good year. I think it's an exciting signing. I think Devin Bush can be better than what Tremaine Edmunds was for you. It's just a little risky because it's a different system. It's a different fit where Cleveland opens things up with that D-line really well in a way that it's not going to be the case in Chicago with their D-line. So you're asking Devin Bush to prove that he can be really a, LB. Well, you do have, although I don't know if he's going to be able to be out there for you with Edwards. But I do believe in what we saw from Devin Bush last year. I think a good buy low 3 or $30 million a year deal on. I mean, how often do I say this with first round linebackers? Like, it takes time. And Devin Bush was drafted 10th overall. Everyone thought he was going to be a superstar early, and he wasn't. Gets tagged as a bust, and then he goes around the league, isn't really starting because he had been tagged as a bust, and then he has to kind of carve his way into a lineup, and it's like, no, guys, like, I figured it out. Like, I maybe even figured this out like 3 years ago. I've just been waiting on the opportunity, and Pittsburgh kind of gave up on me earlier than they were supposed to. I'm right here. Like, hey, guys, it's me, Devin Bush. Remember me in college, and I was like an insane linebacker prospect? So if you're getting that guy, like that's a great signing. But now it's really go time. Now it's like, you're our guy, we're paying you, go be the dude. But I like it. 3 years, 30, like I think that's a good move. So a couple people are saying Jamal Dean to the Steelers. If that's the case, I love it. But I'm not seeing that quite yet. But I do have to run, you guys. I just hit the 2-hour mark on the stream, so that's like the perfect out here. I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting any super chats here. Monty again, dude. Monty, you are literally the GOAT. He's saying glad to see Dobbins back. His patience maximizes the Broncos' inconsistent run blocking. True. Wish they got a sturdy blocker who can run and catch. Algier or Chris Rodriguez, their eyes will be on Washington in the draft. I like that. I would still be looking at running back. You cannot count on J.K. Dobbins to be there for you as your number one back. It just you cannot have that approach at this point. But yeah, you guys, amazing stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is one of my favorite days of the year, and I'm sorry I wasn't there like right at the beginning, but I actually think this works better. I do. To give it an hour or so to breathe And then we have everything to talk to, and we're just rolling, man. So let me know in the comments, especially of the VOD. I won't really see in the chat as much, but once this stream ends, go and let me know if you prefer like an hour later or you want me live, like right on the spot. I think it's just a matter of, do you want like a nice stream of consistent analysis, or do you just want the live like reactions, as they come in? Do you just want my emotional response to these things? Because it's kind of it's a different feel. But that was great, man. Like, my offer stands to the first person. I can't offer this to everybody, so I'm sorry if you put in the time and you miss out. It's kind of a race for $20. But the first person to comment with the timestamps on the VOD, the video version of this, not the chat here, with the timestamps, and please format them, if you're listening, with player name, space, timestamp, and then the next one, because that's how you need to put it into the YouTube algorithm. So just do like Devin Bush 20:00:01. But the first person to do it with the timestamps and then your Venmo or your PayPal, I got $20 heading your way, for the sake of the community, so you can have this video and get my reactions to all of it, and that's phenomenal. But thank you guys so much. Miguel from Mexico just came into the super chat as well. I love the Tonga signing, dude. Love that he's finally getting paid. Good signing for the Chiefs. Exactly their type. Tonga's been underrated for a while, and you've been underrated for a while, Miguel. We appreciate you always coming in with the super chats from Mexico. But seriously, I got to run. My wife in the chat is saying she's offering to do timestamps. But the offer's already thrown down there. Offer's already out there. I'm happy to give back to those willing to help out. But we're out of here. Great stream. Thank you so much. We're going to have Studs and Duds coming for you guys on Patreon and for the YouTube members. So if you want access to Studs and Duds, if you've liked that series, it's the YouTube members get access to it. It's just $2.50 on my Patreon as well. So lots more analysis there, and you support the channel in the process there. It's patreon.com/thatfranchiseguy. You also get my draft board, plugging everything on the way out here. But love you guys. Make sure you're subscribed as well. And that's all I got. Cheers, everybody.